Welcome back. I'm on Roosevelt Boulevard in Philly, just picking up some parts, and I just saw something come across my Facebook news thread that somebody posted a receipt saying, did I get ripped off? And they're showing a repair order, right? So the person hit a curb, did some damage. The technicians noted that the brake pads were low and needed replacement. They advised replacing the rotors. Customer declined replacing the rotors. The shop did what they should have just said. No, I'm not pad slapping, but you got all these money grabs out here, and it was like $1,000 for a tire and brake pads and set the toe or some shit like that, right? Brake pads, a tire, and set the toe. Did she get ripped off? This is the question she's asking. Well, if you have a brand new tire and the receipt says you paid for a brand new tire, you already answered your question. That is no. If your brakes look new through the wheels and only the brake pads, then no, because everything that they charge you for is on your car. Getting ripped off means you're paying for services or products that you didn't receive. Now, this is where the world is like, oh, they ripped me off. Just because you paid a higher price doesn't mean that you got ripped off. You went there and asked for that place to provide you with services and parts. That's what they charge. Wawa doesn't charge the same price for the new Reese's Oreos that Walmart charges. It's almost $1 difference, believe that or not. Almost $1 difference between Wawa and Walmart. So is Walmart ripping their customers off? Well, Walmart's not paying $1 less for that product. Actually, Walmart's cost on that product is probably less than what it costs Wawa. That's the way it works. Or Wawa is paying the same cost as Walmart, and Walmart has a lower profit margin. We don't really know. But is Wawa overcharging versus Walmart? Absolutely. Every gas station isn't the same price, and there isn't hundreds of gasoline vendors out there. Most of these gasoline companies are only buying from a handful of companies that produce gasoline and sell gasoline. But you have all these Gypsy and Mystery and name brand gas stations, and the prices of fuel is all different. So to answer your question, did that girl get ripped off? No. She obviously had the choice to say, okay, well, I'm going to tow it someplace else. And towing it to the cheaper guy, she may have had a bad experience. Who knows? But that doesn't mean that you were ripped off. And I hear that conversation all the time in social media, and let alone in my shop. Come on, dumbass. Don't you know how to drive your friggin' car? Middle lane, trying to make a right turn. Yes. So no, I looked at the invoice they provided. If all the parts are on your car and the labor, you agreed to pay what that company or that person asked for. No. If that company or person did not put the products and do the services, then yes, you have a bitch. But I doubt that you hit a curb, blew out your tire, and you're not driving your car out of there. So obviously they fixed it. And I hear people say this all the time. It's like, they'll bring their car in, and the car is loud from everywhere, right? My trained ear picks up all the problems. The person driving the car is just saying, well, it's only right here. Do you see that little problem right there? And I'm like, yeah, but there's a lot of other issues wrong with your car. On top of the exhaust is loud, the tires are screaming, the wheel bearings are bad, the front end's clanking, the air doors in the dashboard are clattering away, there's a rattle in the interior. What noise do you want me to fix? And then I've had this happen. We'll say we fix the loudest noise, right? Okay, well, I'm here because my exhaust is loud, and we fix that. Now the exhaust is quiet. The rest of the car is still a wreck. Well, I never heard that before. No shit, you're not going to hear that over someone's radio blaring in your ear with sounds and noises. And then when it's quiet, you're going to be like, wow, I heard a pin drop. Yeah, you can do that. Did we rip that person off? No. Did the customer not listen to what we were saying? Absolutely. Just like that receipt said. They recommended brake pads and rotors at the same time. Customer just wanted brake pads, which I would never do. It was spelled out, we don't guarantee for noise or pulsation. I don't care if it's written and declined. That's not a shield to protect you from the bullshit and nonsense that people put you through and say, well, I never did that until you, or I never heard that before until you. No, that's why I say, you don't want to do the job right and you're asking me to work on your car, you can take that shit someplace else. That's facts, people. So no, that was on my Facebook that they showed an automotive repair receipt. So if that shop didn't do what you asked, which they did, and they made proper recommendations, and you leave there and your brakes are pulsating, that's on you. They already advised you. It's on you. And for me, I don't want to hear them come back and say ever since or you did and this, that. That's all bullshit to me. I advise you, and that's your problem now. But once you touch it and then you get married to it, doesn't matter what the language says on a receipt. People will still torture and harass you. And certain people will continue to dig and nag and torture you all goddamn day long because they didn't want to fix it right the first time, thinking you're going to give them their money back or you're going to go in there, reach into your pocket and fix it right for them. I learned my lessons the hard way. Nope, you don't want to fix it right? Take that shit down the street to the scab shop. Let them crack your transmission or strip out your oil drain plug or, do even worse. So no, if you paid for products and services and you got it, I don't call that the definition of being ripped off. But you hear people who are not so educated and that say it all the time. Oh, I went down to so-and-so's and I got a T-bone steak and it was $80. And I can go to Target and get a steak for $10, the same steak. They ripped me off. No, they didn't. You went to that place of business and service establishment, you asked for products and service, and you agreed to pay it. Not being ripped off. My definition of getting ripped off is I paid for something I didn't get. That happens online all the time, especially with eBay. And sometimes eBay's not even in your corner for you getting ripped off. And then you as the buyer, or even a seller, you have to protect yourself. So yeah, you paying for goods and services and not receiving them is you being ripped off. You asking for goods, products, and services and receiving all them, it's not that you got ripped off. You paid what that company or person or persons or establishment asked that you asked them for. And they provided it at the cost and prices that you agreed to. So no, that's not being ripped off. But I hear it all the time. It's crazy. It aggravates me. And sometimes I try not to get into a debate with a customer when they come from another shop and the shop does all the work and the job's screwed up. They didn't rip you off. You just went to the stupid shop or the cheap guy, or the guy that thinks he's premier and he's not. Like I said, I did a video today on how many roofers have been on top of my shop roof that aren't really the expert pro roofers. Even the guy that I've known for years who did my own roof at my house had friggin' issues. Heating and air conditioning guy, issues. Did they rip me off? No, they charged me whatever it cost. I didn't argue with it. This is what you want to do the job. They did it. They put everything on the roof that they said they were going to do, and then when there was problems, they came back and stood behind it. I had my son's Jeep transmission done at a transmission shop local, and as soon as we got it back, there was a problem. How did they miss that? They were hoping the customer would notice. Like, duh, I'm a pro, I'm an expert. I noticed it instantly as soon as it came back. Hear that? I just hit a trash can in the middle of the road with the old green truck. That boom! Excuse me. As soon as we got it back, I felt the problem. I'm like, this is wrong. The trans is not right. Call them up, say what's going on. Oh, we need to look at it again. Like, okay. Like, didn't you friggin' drive this $4,000 transmission job? And it happened almost every time I was in the car. So it's to the point to where you would notice it every time that you were going between the gears. Did they miss it? Probably. Did they just say, maybe they won't notice? Probably just said, we're not going to notice. That vehicle went back 3 times. And then the owner said, listen, I'm just going to give you your money back and you can take it someplace else. I said, nope, absolutely not. You're going to see this job through. And he's like, what do you mean? I said, I want you to go buy a transmission core with lower mileage on it, and I want you to rebuild that. That's what you should have did from the rip, instead of trying to build a 230,000 mile core out of this transmission. You should know better. But you said that you could do it. So then now you're on the hook. So then he kind of like exhaled and said, okay. And you know what? Didn't have a problem after that. 3 times back, new valve body, this bullshit, that bullshit, for $4,000 on the ring. This is a reputable transmission shop. And the owner is one of the builders. He doesn't do all the installations. And I said, absolutely not. You're going to see this motherfucker through. And that's exactly what I said to him. And I said, here's what you're going to do. You offered to give me my money back. That's not good enough. I want you to get a used transmission core with low mileage, and I want you to build that. And you, as an expert in the industry, should have already known that 300,000 mile cores are garbage. They go right in the trash. And I learned that from a Mercedes guy, because you see Mercedes vehicles seeing these high mileages. And he said, Ant, I learned this long time ago being a Mercedes-Benz tech. You know, they're talking 40, 50-year Mercedes tech, that 200,000 mile transmissions are garbage. They go right in the trash. He said, whatever little pieces I know that aren't horrible or that I could reuse and I know, he goes, I store that stuff. The drums and this and that and all that shit goes in the trash, even the case. I said, I understand. And when I said that to the builder, he already knew I was onto it. It's like, either I accept what he's given or I accept his offer to give him his money back. And an average person would have never noticed the little bit of an issue with that transmission. But by the time that warranty is over, which was only a 1-year warranty for $4,000, sorry, sir, your trans needs to be built again, and they don't care. It's a 1-year warranty. You cry and bitch all you want. So did he rip me off? No. He did the job. It wasn't right. I made him accountable. I made him stand behind it and make it right. So anybody else feel the same way when people say that I got ripped off? They're like, I just paid $10,000 for this pinky ring. That's what that place wanted. Oh, you know, he ripped me off. No. People just like to hear themselves talk, I think. Ripping off is not receiving products, goods, or services that you've paid for. So I actually messaged that person and said, no, it was expensive. Yes. Were you ripped off? No. If you have everything that's on that receipt done to your car, they did exactly what you paid them to do, and I assure you the brakes aren't going to be right, and I bet you she's going to complain in a couple days that her brakes are squeaking and pulsating and making all kinds of noise. And then the shop's going to have to deal with that bullshit. When they could have just said, nah, sorry, pad slaps aren't worth it. And they whacked her. $350 for a set of brake pads. And it wasn't even on like an Audi or a Lexus or a Benz or, you know, a Porsche or a Lamborghini. Just a regular car. But, you know, I guess if you're going to pad slap a car, you better get paid for it, just in case you have to listen to some bullshit. And Rachel will tell you, yeah, we're not your pad slap shop. Sorry. If you're starting at the bottom, there's no doubt you're going to cry and complain if there's a problem from your brakes, and I don't want to hear about it. Woo! Let's see. How's our bays? Wow. 2 bays out of that giant shop have cars in it. This is Philly, Northeast Philly. Millions of people within 10 miles. Crazy. All right. Thanks for watching.